Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and today we're going to be making queso from scratch. If you've never made queso before, stick with me and I'll show you how easy this is to make. Let's get started making our queso. If you love queso as much as I do, that's probably one of my favorite parts of going to a Mexican restaurant is ordering the queso before your meal comes out and just eating that with the little chips and things that come with it. So I'm going to show you my take on how to make queso at home. So we're going to start out with some cheese. And I've got two different kinds of cheese here. I've got a sharp white cheddar cheese and I've got some Monterrey Jack cheese. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grate 4 ounces of each and I'm going to go ahead and get that started and I'll be right back. Now that we've got our cheese grated, as you can see here, I've got 8 ounces of my cheese. Again, that was 4 ounces of my white sharp cheddar and 4 ounces of the Monterrey Jack. Now I've got 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and this is going to be a thickener once we get all this melted down. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our cheese right now. And now that I've got that in there, I'm just going to give that a little toss around so that we get all the cornstarch incorporated into our cheese. That looks good for our cheese mixture now, so I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to go ahead and chop up some of my other ingredients. I've got 2 cloves of garlic that I'm going to mince up really small, so I'm going to go ahead and mince these 2 cloves of garlic. All right, now that I've got my garlic minced up, I'm going to push that to the side. And I'm going to work on my green onions. So now I've got 2 green onions. I'm just going to take the root end off of it. And I'm just going to use the white part of the onion. I'm not going to use all the way up to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. I'm going to save this for the garnish on top of my queso. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the outside of this skin off of these. Now I'm going to take these and just give these a really small chop. All right, I've got these little ringlets for my onions now, and I'm just going to give them a little bit more of a mince. That way we don't get big pieces of onion in our bites. All right, that looks good. Let's push that to the side. And we'll start working on our tomatoes. I've got 3 Roma tomatoes here. What I'm looking for is about a half a cup of tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the top off, and then I'm going to cut it into quarters. And I'm actually going to take the seeds out of these because I don't want that in my queso. So with that, we're just going to kind of run the knife down the side like that. And that will take that seed right out of that. I'm going to continue to work on these and I'll get these chopped up. I'm looking for about a half a cup of my tomatoes. All right, I have my tomatoes cut up now. This is a half a cup, so I've got a half a cup of tomatoes. And then I've got some that are left over out of those 2. And I'm going to use that to garnish on the top. So that was 2 of my Roma tomatoes. And I've got an extra one here just in case I might need it later. And we'll use some of our green top of our onions for garnish also. So I'm going to set this aside. And now we're going to get ready to start heating everything up. So let me get everything set up and we'll be right back. All right, we are ready to start making our queso now. So what we do, I've got a saucepan here and I've got the temperature on medium right now. And I'm going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of butter. This is unsalted butter. I always cook with unsalted butter. That way I can gauge how much salt I can be putting into my items. I'm going to let that melt down there. And then I'll go ahead and start putting in our other ingredients. All right, now that I've got my butter melted, I'm going to go ahead and add my onions in, and I'm going to add those in now. We are not looking to brown these. All we're doing is just kind of take the edge off of it. So I'm going to let these cook about a minute, and then we'll add in our garlic. I've got my heat down on a medium-low now. All right, that's looking good now, so I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic in. You don't want to put your garlic in first because it has a tendency to want to burn if you leave it in there too long, and we definitely don't want that. So we're just going to kind of take the edge off of the garlic. So now I'm just going to add a pinch of salt. Maybe just a little bit more. And what I have now is I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin. I'm going to add that in. And we'll give that a good stir around. That is looking good and smelling good, and we're going to go ahead and add in our another ingredient. I've got a mild fire roasted diced green chilies. This is a 4 ounce can. I'm going to use half of this into this mixture. And then I'm going to add in my tomatoes that I chopped up. And just give that all a good stir through. All we're doing now is just kind of heating this up. This is now on a low And I'm going to heat this up for about 2 minutes. And I've got 1 can of Carnation evaporated milk. This is a 12-ounce can. I'm going to add that in. So this is evaporated milk. At this point, we're just going to bring this up almost to a boil, but not quite to it. We just want to bring it to a simmer. We do not want to bring this to a boil. So I'm going to let this continue to heat up. With the green chilies, you can go to any of the heat level that you like. Again, I had the mild ones, but they have a medium and a hot. So whatever heat you like in your queso, definitely at that point you can add the heat to it by how many and what different kind of chilies you can put in it. All right, that looks good now. I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to add my cheese to it, and we'll add all of our cheese in at this point. And again, that cornstarch that we added in there earlier is what's going to help thicken this up, and as it cools down, it will thicken up as well. And we'll get that stirred through. All right, that is our queso. I'm going to grab me a chip. I want to make sure that what I'm going to be eating with the salted tortilla chips that I've got. That way you can taste it to see if I need to add any more salt to it. So definitely at this point, check it for any seasonings that you might need. If you want to put some more cumin in it, or if you need to put some more of the cayenne pepper in it, you definitely can do it at this point, or salt. So this is the point where you want to give it a taste test to see if you need any more seasoning to it. And you can see this is really thickening up now just with that little bit that's in there. So definitely as this cools down a little bit more, it will thicken up just a little bit more also. I'm going to go ahead and plate this, and we'll come back and give this a taste test. Stay with me. All right, I am back. I've got my queso in a bowl, and I've got some chips here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of garnish on the top of it. I'm just going to put some of these little tomatoes that I had cut up there, and then a couple of pieces of these little ringlets of this green onion that I've got here. And there we go. That couldn't look any better. If you've got a party you need to go to, you can make something like this and take it. It's really easy to make. Or if you just got one of those nights where you're having tacos or you want queso, definitely you can make it from scratch at home without having to buy it from the store. And you know what's in it because you made it. So let's give this a test and see what this tastes like. That is really good. You are going to love the taste of this queso. I hope this has inspired you to make some queso. And if it has, definitely check it out because I think you're really going to love it. And if you like this recipe, maybe you might want to try one of these other two over here. You might find something else you like. All right, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and try my homemade queso. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.